Okay. All right. Hi guys, happy Friday. I am back. I am working on some winter wreaths. I had taken a break. If you were with me last week, I kind of just wasn't quite feeling it. And I was trying to push it, and the more I tried to force it, kind of like the more stuck I got. So I took a break this week. I took several days off. I made tree toppers and did other things, but I just needed a break from wreaths for a little while. So if ever you're feeling that way, it's better to not force it. I think a lot of us are experiencing a decrease in sales. Not everybody, that I might just be speaking for myself, but I think that was just a compounding issue of like things just not clicking. So I am easing my way back in on this Friday, and we're gonna make a beautiful winter wreath. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is, I like to do my bow first, but I'm just gonna put these up here to get them out of the way. Okay, Diane, happy Friday. All right, so I already trimmed these. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right about the halfway point here. And I'm gonna throw in a brown zip tie, just so it matches, blends right in with our mechanics. And you wanna do, if you're zip tying, you wanna do it snug, but you don't wanna do it so tight. If you do it too tight, what you're gonna actually do is like make your wreath so tight, it's gonna be very hard to put more materials in it. So snug, not super tight. And I love in my workshops, people always zip tie their wreaths to their easels. Also don't do that. Okay, now we're gonna be putting a bow here, so I wanna leave space for that. So I'm gonna come down and slide this upward. And I wanna leave room because I think it's gonna be a decent sized bow. So I'm gonna slide this through, and as long as we're capturing within the zip tie, the stem and the grapevine, that's all we need. So it's okay if it's wrapped all the way around the outside of the grapevine wreath, it's not gonna show. All right, and for this, because I feel like it's kind of going a little bit on its, like in its own direction, I'm gonna add a zip tie to the top part here, so just the stem. I don't wanna wrap the zip tie around any of the greenery and squish it. So, get our stem in here, get our zip tie around our grapevine base, and voila. So I do end up adding some glue to this at the end. However, I think that like in New England, our winters can be so bad, and you know, we have blizzards and all those things. And I don't bring in my wreaths when the weather's bad. So I feel like I want something that's gonna definitely be like wind resistant, and I'm not gonna have to worry about it. So I'm gonna also add an extra zip tie down below. Yep. Last night I had a workshop with 18 people, and it was so fun. Next week I have a workshop with 40 people, which I've only had that one other time. I am very grateful for the lovely, lovely, beautiful, kind-hearted Melissa McCreary for assisting me, because that is a large group. But Melissa is a pro. She's done one with me, and she's very good at it. Okay. All right, so now that we have this part in place, you can either, you know, like snip the tails off the zip ties as you go. You can do it at the end. I'm gonna do them as I go just because I'm making my OCD-ish a little bit. All right, so we're gonna move on to our bow. All right, My favorite things in the winter, like for decor, I really romanticize velvet and like those antique bells. So we are going to do a beautiful emerald green velvet bow, okay? We may or may not use the sign. It depends on how I space it. Yeah, let's see. Actually, I think if we do this now and build around it, they just match so well. All right, so I'm snipping the rope off of this. I am going to take my staple gun that I spray painted gold. I want everything to be girly. And I'm gonna go, let's see, edge to edge with this. So I'm gonna do one here, and then I'm gonna do one like here. First one. And 2 zip ties, I mean, 2 staples should be enough. And you just want to make sure that your zip tie has a little bit of movement. There you go. So you can adjust it easily. Okay, so we have one here, and I'm going to do right here. Hey, Verlene, how are you? I'm telling you, I am getting like more and more blind as a bat. All right. Again, we're going to do this little slide. And this sign is, let me see. This sign is from TMI Gifts, and I believe it's $5. Promo code makes it $4, so very inexpensive. It's beautiful. And there's a lot of people searching right now for like sashes and things like that. And even though this isn't a traditional sash, technically this is like a sign that looks like a sash. Oh my gosh. Please don't make me say sash again. Okay. So I'm going to secure it on one side. Yeah, I've been wanting to use the sign, and then I saw like the velvet, and I was like, oh yes, they are just meant to be together. And I'll definitely take some feedback on if this setup and view is better than when we were doing it the other way. I took the painting off the wall for this because I know that's distracting, I guess. But yes, let me know what you think. All right, so we have our sign up. We have kind of like the parameters of our wreath. And now we're going to get to our bow making. Okay, and for this, you can use a zip tie, you can use a chenille stem. I always like the floral wire. Maybe I'm just a creature of habit, I don't know. So this ribbon is super luxurious. I mean, it's crushed velvet on the front and that gorgeous emerald green. And then on the back, we have this shimmery gold. So this is something I grabbed off of Amazon. It is in my Amazon storefront. I tagged a bunch of things that like I'm using this winter. All right, so I'm gonna have a tail that's like about 8 inches. 8 inches. All right, and now I'm gonna start measuring my loops. So I don't want this bow to be huge because we have a beautiful sign, and you know we don't need to kind of drown that out. So I'm gonna start with a 5-inch loop. Okay, so when you're doing this, you slide the ribbon down from the dowel, through the dowels, and I always start on this side. Then once you put it through the dowel, you want to give it a full twist. Okay, this was the part I was stuck on forever, and I could not figure out how to use an easy bow maker because if you don't do it like real tight, it ends up like super thick, and then the loops are kind of like sloppy, and it just doesn't work. So it was like an aha moment. So I'm pretty much always going to say crisp twist. Can't help it. So I'm going to measure 5 inches. Then as I put my ribbon back through the dowels, okay, I'm going to have it twist on the other side. So if you think about it, the side that's always going to go down on our dowel is going to be the pretty side, okay? And then once the loop is complete, once we do the other half of it, then the pretty side is going to be facing up. All right, so 5 inches. And once you've measured your first loops, you can just go and just stack on top of them. And I'm using Marianne's, her ribbon wrangler, which is great for all you fancy folks who do like multiple ribbons because you can stack like 3. I like it just because it just keeps your ribbon in place. It would not be a live video if there was not dog chaos at some point. So that is Winnie. Hey, Marion. Nice to see you. All right, so I'm going to make 6 of these loops. So 6 5-inch loops. Now I'm going to cut my tail. I'm just going to have it match this one. And then I'm going to do another tail. So again, we're starting off on the side of our dowel of our easy bow maker. And I'm going to put this through, and I'm just going to make 1 loop. It's going to be about 3 inches. I always just eyeball this. This is kind of like the button. It's that like juicy part in the center of a bow. So it's going to be about 3 inches. If Bruno feels very ignored, he has started to eat the window outside. So I have to pay attention to that. Okay, so I'm going to just spread my loops a little bit. We'll fluff them up after. All right, so I'm going to slide this off the Easy Bow Maker, and I'm going to be using my pointer finger and my thumb. And I'm just going to hold this nice and tight in place. And then once it's off, take your floral wire, chenille stem, zip tie, whatever, and wrap this around. And then tie it, twist it off like nice and tight, like super, super tight. Okay, now I'm going to just dovetail the ends of the tails. So, you know, there's different ways to polish the ends. You can do it in a diagonal cut. I like to do the dovetail. I just think it looks more polished. So what I'm doing is I have my open edges facing this way. So I'm going to hold this tight and going upward at an angle. Cut that out. Get that little triangle. If you should do this and it looks more like this, like you added a triangle, it just means you did it backwards. Not a big deal. Let's try it again in the opposite direction. So yes, we're gonna go around and do all 4 of our tails. Oh yeah, I know, I love this too. And the Ribley is also, I mean, there's really no difference. I like Ribley because everything I've had from them so far has been consistently good. And you know, like when you're ordering something online, you just never know what you're gonna get. So I definitely encourage people to do Ribley. This is a different one. I have no idea. I basically bought the same thing with 2 different brands. So anyways. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this to a floral pick. And the reason why I do this is because I like my bows to kind of jet out a little bit. Let's just see how this is going to look. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a floral pick. And if you have a floral pick that has this like little tiny wire on it, we're not using it. You can pull it off. You can just ignore it. What we're doing is we're focusing on our heavy duty wire. So this is like 24 gauge, I think 24, 26 gauge floral wire. Okay, and what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna come close because I rush through this sometimes and I don't explain it well. So we're at the back of our bow Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my floral pick right up against it. And then from the top, I'm going to start tightly wrapping the wire around our floral pick. Okay, until the wire is gone. Okay, and if you're not feeling like super comfortable with that, or you want some more, you know, security to it, you can definitely add some glue. You can also use floral tape, okay? And floral tape is just, it's tacky, and it's just another way of securing it. So if you're gonna use your floral tape, you grab your floral tape, and then come close again. So where you can start, you know, you can't start at the very top because it's in the ribbon, but you're gonna just start wrapping this around until all of the wire is covered. All right. And that one's really just all about like putting pressure on the floral tape. Let's give our bow a little fluffing, a little loving. Did you guys have a good week? So any of our members who weren't on the Zoom call, I wasn't sure. I was like, oh gosh, I wonder if we're gonna have like enough to talk about. We talked for like over 2 hours. Like all of a sudden I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like 10 past 9. So I know people aren't gonna wanna like do 2-hour calls. But I was thinking if we do them like once a month, you know, then there won't be as much to chat about. But oh my gosh, it was so fun being able to connect to people and actually like see and talk to the people that, you know, I see your names pop up here, but it's just not the same. It was so nice. I saw Sue, I saw Gina, I saw Valerie, I saw Cassie, who has the cutest purple hair. And we have our newest member, Janae, who had literally joined like 3 minutes before the Zoom call. So it was perfect timing. All right, so I'm gonna dip my floral pick in the glue. Slide this right in, right here. And I'm gonna kind of have this off to the side a little bit, just because I don't really want it like covering our sign. All right, and then we'll build around this bow. I always tell people not to fluff until the end, but I'm just like the biggest hypocrite because I can't help it. I really can't. Okay, so I have a variety of greenery here. Norfolk pine is like the star this season. Everyone's loving it. It's like the top garland. It's this real touch. So this is from Amazon. Okay, I think these are about $2 a stem. It was like $24, $25 for a dozen. Okay, real touch. These are from Joann's. Okay, they're definitely not, you know, they're definitely not up to par. However, these are also very, very nice. And you can get these in bulk through Joann Plus. So what I like to do is take the less expensive greenery and kind of put it more towards the back, and then take the more expensive pieces, you know, and have them somewhere where they're really going to be highlighted and shown. So we have that. We have some of, well, I'm not sure we're going to use everything, but this is the juniper from TMI Gifts that I love. It's like, I think it's like $3 a stem. Very hard to find affordable juniper. And if you see the juniper at Joann's, it looks nice, but all of the berries fall off. I had to make a big return with them because they were like a hazard. I used them at a home workshop, and I mean, there was like a little dog, and it was very worrisome that so many were falling. So they look good, they seem like they're a great price, but it is a bit of a too good to be true scenario. All right, so I'm going to take this bush, I'm just going to cut it into 5 pieces, cutting it right at the base. And then if pine cones get in your way, if they're not serving you, just pull them off. I mean, if you don't want to waste them, if you want to rewire them, go for it. I mean, I have like a million pine cones here, so I'm not going to pretend that I save all of these. But if you do, more power to you. Oh, Marion's had her grandbaby with her the last few days. How awesome. Have you guys seen that video with the little girl Hannah who goes to the Christmas store with her mom, and she's like, I'm really sorry, Mom, but I'm gonna cost you a lot of money or something. And she just starts like dancing, and she's just so excited about everything, like every ornament, you know, every tree. And I was like, that's what Christmas is all about. Like, I loved that feeling. And then I got to relive it when my daughter was young, and I hope someday, not anytime soon, I then get to relive it with grandbabies, because it's just the most magical part of Christmas. Like, everything's exciting, you know? All right, so I'm just gonna kind of balance this. So I put one on top and one on the bottom. And I was even thinking, I think the reason why I love bells, I mean, obviously they're beautiful, but when I was growing up, we had like, kind of like, it was almost like a belt with bells on it, and it hung on our front door, and we always knew when Santa came because we heard the bells, and then we would like hop out of bed and hightail it and see what we got. So I think there's just like a bit of extra nostalgia for me when it comes to the bells. Move this closer. Oh, and Christmas shopping, yes. And it doesn't have to be like big fancy things. Like, sometimes it's the small things that kids really like gravitate towards. You know, I feel like sometimes there's like pressure to get, you know, all sorts of expensive stuff, but that's not really what they're excited about. And then one year, so my parents, you know, there were gifts for my parents that would be under the tree. And because I was so mischievous, one year my mom labeled all of my gifts as my grandmother's so that I wouldn't touch them. Like, I was like, I don't care what my grandmother got. And then on Christmas morning, she was like, yep, if it says Grammy, it's for you. And I was like, geez, well played, Kathleen. Well played indeed. Ugh, didn't mean to do that, but. Stick this guy up here. All right. Let's see. I also got these off of Amazon. They're nothing to like write home on about, but I will say they're great, like airy fillers. And I think like 100 came in a set. I mean, they were not expensive at all. So, I mean, I would manage your expectations. However, I think used sparsely, they definitely do the trick. I would not do an entire design with these, but again, just to get that little bit of airiness. And I just have to be careful not to get glue on my velvet bow. Sometimes I don't put the bow on until the end, just because it's pretty impossible to get glue off of a velvet bow without leaving some type of like marking or damage. And velvet ain't cheap, as we know. All right. I'm just gonna move you guys closer to me because I am blind. Let's see. It pulls towards you from the, oh, I did backwards. Marion, can you just fly over here and we can use the Wrangler and we can use the bow maker, and you can show me how to do all of these awesome bows and all the different layers. I just need an in-person visit from you. Is that too much to ask? All right, so now I'm putting some in just to make sure I'm covering up anywhere that the stem is showing. Like so. These are also from Amazon, and I'm really happy with these. They were a reasonable price. I ordered some and they were literally like this big. So I was like, again, Cara can't read the instructions. I just went off the picture and ordered them. So those went back. And you know how it is when you do an Amazon return, you kind of hold your breath like, is this going to be one of those items that they don't want back? But they wanted it back. I have not even thought about Christmas shopping. I feel like everything is going by like so quick. And I honestly feel like that's part of what the issue is with sales. I think it's like, you know, we should be doing Thanksgiving, but like when you see on social media, everything's flooded with all the winter decor. It's hard not to then like want to shift gears. You know, I did my mantle and I love it. Like the dogs curl up in front of the fire and it's just super sweet. I'm waiting to put my big tree up. I might start my pencil trees. I'm waiting. You guys saw that that ribbon is back. I actually still have one roll from the spring, but I mean, I sold a lot of those bows for a good, I mean, the ribbon's like $15, but I think I was selling the bows for like $45, you know? Bows are not something everybody can make, and it's also not something everybody wants to make. They don't want to deal with it. Like when I do my workshops, like I do the bows in advance. You know, if somebody wants to learn, I would obviously I would absolutely teach them. But I'm like, I kind of feel like my crowd, like, you know, they worked all day, they had their kids all day, you know, like they just kind of want to unwind. Like my crew last night, I mean, they showed up, they had charcuterie boards, they had wine, they had like chip and dip. I mean, they came prepared. I was like, yes, these are my people. All right, so now let's put in some of our Norfolk pine. Again, this is Real Touch. Real Touch flowers cannot go outside. This can, because this is more plastic and the other ones are more like a cloth, like, I don't exactly know what they're made of, but they are not meant for outside. All right, so we're gonna put this in a nice prominent area. So we're gonna start with our bow. Norfolk pine is kind of wild. All right, then we're gonna go under our bow. Right on there. Get rid of this pine cone. So many pine cones. Yep, so I had just been kind of I was a little stagnant. I was really like just like not loving making wreaths. And last week especially, like I did a live and I was just like, I mean, I'm not good at hiding. Like if I'm not feeling something, it's kind of like, I just, you know, like I have like resting, you know, face. And I also just like, you know, I exude my emotions. So my energy was definitely off. And I went back, I have this meditation book and every day you read like whatever the corresponding date was. So I went back to last Friday, which was the 8th. And wouldn't you know, it was about how when things don't feel natural and if you try and force them, what happens is you lose your self-confidence and it makes it worse. So it's like sometimes you just need to kind of like take a step back and give yourself some grace. And then also just, you know, give yourself some time to like maybe like get into it again. Like last week, like my wrists hurt. I mean, it's just like a whole like slew of reasons that I just wasn't enjoying it, you know? But like when I did my mantle, I was like super passionate. It came together very, very easily. And I'm like, that's how I feel when I know I'm doing something that I love. So today I'm back at it. We'll see how I do. I'm definitely feeling a lot more into it. I missed my workshop. I missed doing these things. All right, so let's go in with some of these gold leaves. Yeah, Marion, someone mentioned they were hoping you were going to be on the call. I'm like, geez, missed popularity over there. So hopefully next one. And then on Monday, we're starting our next design challenge, which we're still doing, you know, winter, Christmas, Hanukkah. So that's in the membership group on Facebook. And one winner will be picked at random. And they can choose from, the winner can choose from a $25 gift card to a craft supplier of their choice, including Amazon. Hobby Lobby is a pain. You have to, of course, they don't have anything electronic. You have to pay $1. I will definitely, I'm happy to pay an extra $1 for my peeps. It's just like another thing Hobby Lobby just, you know, it's just their way. Or you could do a Zoom call with me, or I could do an Etsy shop review. And so last month, Leslie won, and yesterday we did a call, and oh my gosh, would you know, we talked for like over 2 hours. Like, I just really, really love everyone in this group. I mean, it's so fascinating, like learning more about you, your families, your business, like where you're at in your journey. Like I looked at the clock and I was like, holy cow, that flew by. Time flies when you're having fun and when you're having people who have, you know, a similar mindset and a similar passion. There's a lot to talk about. All right, I'm going to throw some gold up here. Let's see. Sorry, sometimes I mess with this. I mess with the view. Okay. These are also from TMI Gifts. And I love these, very well priced. I'm in the process, I'm gonna do another winter kit with them. I'm excited, I don't know what it's gonna be yet. There's so many things to choose from. They've really expanded their line, so there's a lot to choose from. So I want to choose carefully. Okay, now this makes me sad because these pine cones are so beautiful. So like something like this I probably will save. It's just like a nice, it's like a nice rich color. All right, and then that is, hey Penny. Penny, you know I'm always late. I was late today because I made a video before this. So I made a tree topper video that once I edit it, it'll be posted for you guys. This piece is kind of long. I was almost done and then Bruno came and like jumped on me. I was like sitting down and he like just clobbered me. So I was like, oh, I have to pause and do a couple things over again, but how could I be mad at my boy? I can't. All right, just want to try and mirror this. Hey Angela, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to have our last piece. Keep it out. All right, and then the only thing that I think is lacking is this bow, and actually we were talking about this, Cassie and I were talking about this. So if you have your bow, even though it's on a pick and it's risen, you can see here it's still like just floppy. So you can take materials that maybe you don't love. I've heard of people using foam. I haven't done it, but I mean that sounds like it would work. So let me see. I'm going to take some greenery and just stack it behind that part of the bow. Give it a little support, you know? And also, if you need to reposition your bow, I mean, you can do that too. You can always just pull something out if it's not working, and I'm thinking I'm going to do that for this. And have it stick out more. I'm just going to break the pick. It's really not worth trying to even extract that because it's going to break. So, all right. So I'm just going to take this off the pick, remove the floral tape. And we'll do it again. Hello, Sandra. Hey, Jerry. Chanel stems. Yes. So, and it will be in the video. So what I do is I secure it with a zip tie, just because there's typically they're like 19 loops. So I secure it with a zip tie, but then once it's all like secured, I snip off the tail, and then I take chenille stems that match. So like the one I did in the video is red and black buffalo check. So I took 2 red chenille stems, tied them together to make one long one, and then literally just laid it over the center part where the zip tie was. And then I usually include like some extras, but you want to make it so when your customers open the box, they're not like, what do I do with this? You know, like if you're selling smaller bows that might go on like a mantle or, you know, a mailbox or a wreath, it's good to just throw some in the bottom of the box. I usually cut this part off. You know, I know I'm over the top with like worrying about things happening, but and then you can write a little note, you know, like there's some floral picks that you can do it that way. You could just use the chenille stems, whatever, you know, works best for you. Let's see. Okay. I'm just not going to put this in as far. Pick of the bow. Yeah. I mean, for smaller bows, I like to use wire, but I think when you're sending something to someone, the easiest thing for them to work with is going to be the chenille stem. So, and then again, you just want it to match. I also stuff every loop, and the reason why is there's a few reasons. One is that I want it to arrive exactly how it looks online. You don't want somebody to be like, what is this? And then also the bows are typically like they're usually about 12 inches wide, but we all know how expensive shipping is. So I put them in 8x8, like an 8 cube box. And even though it's a little smushed, it's really not because the tissue paper is in it. So you just go into every loop and you stuff them to the max. And that also lets your client know like how to kind of put it back together, and you know, they can store it for next year. And that's why we always use the wired ribbon, just so that it holds. All right, I'm just gonna put a little at the top, but I mean, she came together quick. That's good. Winnie is here for the weekend. So Winnie was my dog. My mom wanted her, so she's my mom's dog, but I am babysitting her for the weekend, and she does not like Bruno at all. So it's gonna be a long weekend, I think. And she's so good at my parents' house, and then she comes here and she's like ricocheting off every sofa, every cushion's on the ground. It's like she just knows. She knows I'm just not that strict. So this ribbon is from Amazon, and I can link it. I'll link it in the description when I post this video again. So this one is a different brand. Looks like Vitalize Art, but also Ribley makes this. I don't know which one, because I have them both. I don't know which one was less money, but the quality is exactly the same. So I would say either one of those is fine. I have like a little category in the storefront of like luxury winter things that I've been working with. And I have bought like almost every color of velvet. 'Tis the season for velvet. And bells. I mean, I had pulled some bells, which also, if people are looking for good bells, also an Amazon find, but these came, first of all, how pretty is that sound? But these came in a set of like strung like 4. These are the exact ones that I used on my mantle upstairs. So they were like $14, I think, which I think is very reasonable, because for most wreaths, I'm just taking 2 out of the 4 and just, you know, tying them together with like some velvet, like coordinating velvet. And then for that, for some things, like it's going under the bow, but it's usually like a more simplified bow. So yeah, I think, let's see. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, it's fun having Winnie here. She just is a whole, I mean, it's like dogs gone wild, and she knows it. She knows. If my dad was here, she wouldn't even go on the couch, let alone go on the couch and kick all the pillows off, but she is highly amused by it. All right, so this is our emerald green Merry Christmas wreath with all of our gold accents. So let me know what you guys think. Okay, it's on an 18-inch base, and it's gonna measure out, it's probably gonna be around 22 inches. And then I gotta ask you guys a favor, because I always forget, but I definitely want to try and grow our community, our channel. So if you enjoy this content, if you find it helpful, if you can like, share, and subscribe, it would definitely help me out. And if you don't like it, then you don't have to. But yeah, I would definitely love and appreciate if you guys are able to do that. You know, it's just like the more the merrier is how I feel. All right, let me just see. I'm so glad you guys like it. I'll take some good photos of it too. So yeah, that is a wrap for Friday's live. But I hope everybody has an awesome weekend. Everybody who's in the membership group, I really hope we come out guns blazing on Monday with our winter, Christmas, Hanukkah designs. They can be from past or present. But I just love seeing the inspiration. I'm so glad we have that page to share everyone's work. So yes, that is it. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you for watching.